Ben McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium following a close midweek baseball game for a change. Tennessee beats West Georgia 4-2. We'll start on the offensive end because it was a narrow game because of the offense. They only had 5 hits, which I did not double check, but I assume that is a season low.
Good, solid guess.
5 hits. They did walk 9 times, so there was a lot of traffic on the bases. They just did not hit well with runners in scoring position. They were 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They were 4 for 14, I believe, with runners simply on base. So they were generating traffic via walks, but just not able to drive them in once they did get on base. 3 straight innings of there in the middle of leaving at least 2 runners on base.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals, I think, where you got to be honest and say they weren't at their best today, but I also think it's not unhealthy to occasionally be reminded that baseball is a sport where a 4-2 game is pretty standard at a lot of levels. And it's a game where you take for granted what Tennessee's able to do offensively because you see it every game. Like, this is not supposed to be a game where any team ever scores 12.5 runs per game. It's not supposed to be that way. That's not really baseball. You know, for a lot of people around the world, that's not baseball. And so to get in some games like this, which there will be some in SEC play, I don't think it's a bad thing to get in a game like this. And I didn't think West Georgia was a bad baseball team. They, the right fielder took a couple runs away from Tennessee with some brilliant plays out there in the field. And, Tennessee, Curley stung one right at somebody. I mean, it was one of those days. But I liked that there was no panic. There was no, kicking the ball around. Clearly West Georgia was, bunting early, trying to manufacture a run, trying to get some game pressure on Tennessee, which is smart. But the Vols were fine.
Yeah, they were, and they also ran into some tough luck. It was more so just baseball being baseball.
Yeah.
Today. You mentioned Andrew Fisher had 2 extra base hits taken away from him, in addition to hitting a sac fly and in addition to hitting another home run. There's a double play on a hard hit ground ball right at the shortstop and a line drive right at the left fielder. There's some of that mixed in as well, but in terms of the positives offensively, we've mentioned it in passing a bit. Andrew Fisher stays red hot heading into SEC play, and Chris Newstrom taking advantage of his start out in left field with a walk and an RBI single.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Newstrom, again, it's just a repeat of what you say about everybody else. He's a freshman on this team who would get a lot of playing time at a lot of places, a lot more. And to even get the reps that he has gotten at Tennessee this season, I think tells you what they think about him, because every at bat he's getting is an at bat that like another dude is not getting. They don't have roster filler here. They just have like a factory and assembly line of dudes right now. And I like what he does. I really like that he'll go play a good second base. He'll play a good shortstop in a pinch. He'll go left field, right field, third base. You could probably give him a catcher's stuff, because he's done that before. He'd be just fine. You stick him back there tomorrow. He could do that. He's a ball player. And Fisher is just a natural born hitter. I mean, he's just one of those guys who probably doesn't watch a lot of video, probably doesn't do a lot of technical stuff. He just shows up and rakes. Just one of those dudes.
On the mound, Thomas Crabtree was the story, not just on the mound, but I feel like he was the story of the game as well. Shoved, shout out Grant Ramey there with the shove reference there in the middle innings after Braden Krenzel started, worked out of a jam. In second inning, you had to work out of another jam. Austin Breedlove did, and overall, it was a good day for the staff. They allowed 1 walk, which obviously Frank Anderson will be very, very happy about that. 1 earned run over the course of the 9 innings, and I think they also only gave up 5 hits as well. I think both teams had 5 hits. But the story of the day on the mound overall, to me, was Thomas Crabtree, who was a top JUCO arm at Pearl River. He's from West Tennessee. And his curveball was really, really working today. Didn't allow a hit until the final batter he faced. 3 straight 1-2-3 innings. He was really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we've seen the past couple of years that Aaron Combs curveball, which is just an out of this world, like, mind bender of a curveball. So you kind of have to readjust your settings a little bit and be like, well, this kid's got a good one too. It's a really nice curveball, and it comes out of his hand well. He disguises it. It's a really nice pitch. And then when he wants to, ho-hum 94, can touch a little higher than that when he needs to. I mean, it's a good arm. Like, it's you get used to seeing all these 98s, 99s, 100s, 101s, 102s from other guys. But, if you can throw mid-90s with a curveball like that, you can play this game a long time.
Yep.
A long, long, long time. And his ability to go out there and pitch multiple innings today too. I mean, file that away, because that could come in very, very handy at times this season, because that's just There's going to be games where you make some, you make some changes and you fire all the bullets, and then the game goes to extras. And something like that happens. This kid can go out there and throw multiple innings, which is nice. And overall for the staff, Ben, a few games ago when they walked 7, Frank Anderson probably read them the riot act, and since then there just haven't been a lot of walks.
No, there haven't. And then you also, to end the day, you had Dylan Lloyd get the first out at the top of the 9th, and Ryan Combs come in and slam the door as well. So Thomas Crabtree picks up his first career win. Ryan Combs picks up his first career save, and you certainly like where this team is at heading into SEC play this weekend in what will be a top 10 matchup with Florida.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is play the schedule in front of you and win or lose those games. That's what it comes down to. Tennessee played 17 games. Now we're only 3 or 4 of them really good kind of teams, maybe, but they won all 17. There's a lot of other teams out there that have lost games to teams that are worse than the one Tennessee's beaten. So they've won everything in front of them, right? We know they're not going to go 30-0 in the SEC. Pretty sure they're not going to. And again, I even think like the 25-5 a couple of years ago, you just never think something like that is possible in this league. If you win 20 games in this league, you are awesome. Yep. And you are going to have a chance to go win a national title if you do that. So, yeah, I mean, it's fun, interesting that they're hosting to open SEC play. It seems like they always go on the road somewhere colder than here. But, Florida's coming up here, so maybe they'll get lucky and it'll be cold up here and the Gators won't like it. It's a hell of a series, man. You're opening up two of the very best programs in college baseball, locking it up for at least 27 innings.
Yeah, and Florida's dealing with some injuries to their key starters as well, so cold weather may impact their ability to throw or not throw this weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend of Tennessee athletics. Wes and I will be in Nashville at the SEC basketball tournament, but we will still have plenty of Tennessee baseball coverage. Our good friend and coworker Patrick Brown will be pinch hitting, pinch running, a defensive substitution, coming in out of the bullpen, whatever baseball term you want to use.
Well, it's not like he has Champions League stuff to watch now.
This is true.
I went there.
He could quickly remind you about the Braves and the Cubs, so we will move on to the next.
And even Liverpool being ahead of Arsenal right now too, so yeah, but still.
Yes, still. But Patrick Brown, good friend, good coworker, is going to fill in for us this weekend while we are in Nashville. And of course, we'll still be paying attention as well, especially if Tennessee loses, the basketball team loses early in Nashville. So make sure you're locked in to GoVols247.com for all of your Tennessee basketball and baseball coverage, because we've got every single aspect covered that you need to know about. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.